Yo, what's up, students? Let's go over 2-5 notes. So in class, what are we doing? We are doing this. I'm going to give you an equation, 10x plus 5y equals 80. I'm going to tell you, guess what? I want you to solve that for y. Huh? What? Solving for y in this case is absolutely no different than solving for x if x was the only variable. So normally what we do is we solve when there's a single variable. What do we do when there's two? I could solve this for x or I could solve it for y, but just to switch things up, we're going to solve for y. Remember, what does it mean to solve? It means isolate. So we have to isolate this y. Well, not that one. We got to isolate this one, right? So we had to get rid of all of the stuff that's with it. So it's the exact same math that we've been doing. You just won't get a very pretty numerical answer. You'll just get an algebra answer, and that's fine. So how do we isolate the y? This 5 is connected by multiplication, and then this 10x is just kind of floating over here. I guess you could say it's connected by addition, but it's just a positive 10x. This 10x is weaker than the times 5. So how do we get rid of a 10x? You straight up subtract the 10x from both sides. Okay. So what's left over? 5y would still be left over, and that would equal a negative 10x plus 80. Now, I really don't care how you put these in order. I always like to put the variables first. 80 minus 10x, that's the same thing as negative 10x plus 80. It's the same thing. I just like to put the variables first. Okay. Then what are we going to do? Our last move. We got to divide y by 5. Now, here's the tricky part, friends. You have to take the left divide by 5, and you have to take the right divide by 5. The entire right and divide by 5. Y is finally isolated, because that canceled. So when you divide a group, students, this group is being divided by 5. Technically, that's the same thing as if each piece was being divided by 5. So technically, you could write it as negative 10x divided by 5 and 80 divided by 5. Okay. There's some teachers, like myself, sometimes I actually just skip this step. I actually draw it as divide by 5 and divide by 5. If you divide the left by 5, you got to divide everything on the right by 5. You can't just pick and choose. So negative 10 divided by 5 should be a negative 2. X comes along for the ride. 80 divided by 5, I believe, is a number known as 16. Okay, there you go, friends. That's it. Y equals 2x plus 16. So one thing we can do to check is I'm going to throw a number in for x and see what I get for y. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a nice easy number in here. How about x equals, I don't know, 2, okay? So if I plug a 2 in here and see what I get here. Negative 2 times 2, that would be a negative 4. Negative 4 plus 16 should be 12. Okay, again, where are these numbers coming from? I just picked them, okay? So if we did this correctly, x equals 2 and y equals 12, that should work for the original equation. Okay, again, where did it come? I picked it. I picked a number for x. I did the math, and then it tells me what y should equal. Okay, so 12 and 2 works for this equation. Now, if our equation is correct, we don't change the values. We just change how it looks. So let's plug in a 2 and a 12. So 10 times 2 plus 5 times 12. 2 times 12, no, 10 times 2, 5 times 12. I think that's what I said, okay. 10 times 2 is 20, 5 times 12 is 60. Weird. 20 plus 60 is 80. Nice, we did it. Okay, so that means our solution is legit, or not our solution, our isolated y equation is legit. That's all we're doing, okay? We're solving for any variable we want. I could have solved this for x, isolated x. I could have, in this case, I isolated y. Doesn't matter. It's the same algebra. You get rid of the weakest connections first. That's how you solve for any variable that you need to solve for. All right, we'll do some more examples in a bit. Bye-bye.